Hi everyone, Nishka here from EurekaCrystalBeads.com with another fun beading video for you. Before I get started, quick reminder, go check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, make sure to hit that like and make sure to subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing you more fun content. Today's project, we are going to be making this really beautiful and stunning Ravishing Rivoli pendant. It's a nice small pendant so that you can wear it with any outfit any day of the week. It's nothing too showy, but it has so much sparkle. It's also a really great project to do for any beginners, and it's really great entry point for being able to learn how to easily and also pretty quickly bezel a Rivoli. And one of the benefits of that is we're using these bugle beads, 6mm bugle beads, and that's going to make this bezel go by so fast. You don't need to be familiar with any particular stitch, but we will be using the ladder stitch, which will help if you're familiar, but I'll also show you step by step exactly what we're doing. So it doesn't take a lot of time. You can get these done quickly. And it's really fun if you double it up and turn it into earrings as well. Okay, so the items that you'll need to create the Ravishing Rivoli pendant is some bugle beads. You won't need this many. I've just pulled out about half the tube. I'm using these really beautiful Miyuki bugles, but we also have bugles from Toho, and we also have Czech bugles. So you have a huge variety of options of colors. These are the 6mm length ones, and they are this beautiful chartreuse color with this inner lining that I just find so lovely and perfect for an early springtime kind of project. You will also need a bead that is between 3 and 4 millimeters. You can use bicones, you can use druck beads, you can use fire polish, you can use all sorts of different beads for this part of the project. But I've decided to go with the Chinese rondelles, and I'll tell you why. These rondelles are so sparkly. They are also super affordable. You get a super long strand, so you can make so many projects with them. This is like leftover from a different project, so I just had these on hand and decided to go with this. You can't go wrong with the Chinese crystal rondelles. They're just absolutely stunning and are really going to pop in this project. And of course, you're going to need 15 seed beads. Again, you won't need this many. This is more than plenty, but I just put out a bunch so you can see the nice, really pretty gold color here. And I'm using Toho's, but again, any size 15 seed bead is going to work for this project. So just pick out something you like from your stash, or head on over to EurekaCrystalBeads.com for a huge selection of 15 seed bead colors that it's going to just blow your mind. I'm going with a classic here, the gold color, and I think it's going to complement really well with this amazing Krakovski Rivoli that we have right here, which is one of my absolute favorite colors. This is the sunshine finish, and it has this additional finish on the top of it that gives it this amazing multi-dimensional glow. And I'm not even sure if the camera is picking this up, but it's stunning. And it's going to make this project, whew, amazing. So let's take a look at what else we're going to need. For tools, you're going to need a pair of chain nose pliers. I usually like to have two so I can open my jump rings with both of them instead of struggling. And you are going to need some thread snips for your fire line and a size 10 beading needle. If you're going to be working with some chain to finish it and turn it into a necklace, you'll also need some chain cutters or heavy duty wire cutters. And of course, the wonderful fire line we'll be using is crystal in 4 pound, and this might make it a little hard to see on the video. I'll go slow and make sure that we get some close-ups, but it's gonna look really, really nice when finished because it basically disappears into the project. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I did was to cut about 5 feet or so of fire line, and then I have threaded that fire line onto my needle, and I've left like a tiny little amount of thread on one side. I do get questions sometimes about how much thread should be left on the other side of the needle, and it's really about what you're comfortable with. Definitely don't want to be working with double the thickness. So the needle shouldn't be in the middle of your length. It should only be towards the end. And I have put on a selection of beads, and I started with the 15-0 C bead, followed by a bugle and a 15-0 until I have 4 of each bead on my thread. I'm gonna let that go all the way down to the end. I've actually got more than 5 feet here, but that's just because I wasn't paying attention. So I'm gonna end up with a lot of extra, but that's fine. Head on down towards the end, leave yourself a nice tail if you've got that. And what you're going to do is you are going to take your needle and you're going to go back through all of those beads. You can go through one at a time if it's not cooperating for you. That's fine as well. And make sure you're not skipping anything and that you've gone through all of them with your needle. And then we're going to pull that thread all the way, get that tail out of there. So what's going to happen is you're going to end up with this situation. That's fine because the next thing we're going to do is just go through one more set of beads so that we are coming out of a bugle. So that we end up with a nice little square or diamond shape. So here's our working thread coming out of this bugle right on top. Okay, so the next step is that we are going to actually ladder stitch 4 additional bugles to this bugle to create like an arm that's going to help secure our Rivoli once we're ready to put it in. So I'm going to pick up another bugle and just a traditional ladder stitch. So we're going to go back through that bugle that we are coming out of. And you can pop it down and make it sit nicely. And we're creating these 2 bugles sitting next to each other, one after the other, very nicely and neatly. You can give it a nice little tug here. And we're going to go back through that newly added bugle. And again, give it a nice tug. Everything's going to be a little bit loosey at this moment, and that's why it's good to like hold it tightly between your fingers as you tug so that you are making it nice and tight without any gaps. So we're going to add another bugle here, and again through that last one added. This time we're going in the opposite direction because it depends on where our thread is coming out. There you go. Now let's do the next one. So we're gonna have a total of 5 bugles per arm. Okay, back up the next one. And you see how nicely it's starting to just sit right there. So here we have it, total of 5 bugles. Now that we've finished with one arm, we're going to follow the thread path back down through our bugles, and then we are going to get started on the next one. So we're just going to head back, and this will also strengthen your bugle arm. This is going to give you a chance to really tug at that fire line and really make it a lot stiffer as well. Okay, so now we're at the bottom. I'm gonna go through that last bugle at the bottom, and then we are going to head through the 15-0 and through that next bugle on the side. And I'm going to do the same thing that I just did. So I'm going to keep adding bugles in a ladder stitch formation until I have 5 here as well. So I'll get started. I'll show you what we're doing a little bit faster this time, so you can follow along. Give it a little tug. You always want to be going back through that bugle in the opposite direction, or in the same direction as the thread is coming. So your needle is not going where the thread is coming out of, but on the other side, and coming out where the thread already is. That's your basic ladder stitch. All right, last one. Head back up this guy. Make it a little more sturdy. Nice tug. And like before, I'm going to head back down. I'm going to go through that bottom bugle, through that 15-0 in the corner, through that next bugle, and do it again. And then I'll do it one more time. So I'm going to do those off camera. If you need to see it again, you can go back and rewatch the first 2 parts so that you can just copy this 2 more times. And then I will be back and I'll show you what's next after that. Okay, so I have finished here, and this was my last arm that I did. I came back down, and now I'm coming out of that first bugle in this arm right here, you can see. So next what I'm going to do is turn back around, and I'm going to head back again the other way through that next bugle on top. Now what I'm going to do is pick up 3 15-0 seed beads, and I'm going to head into the next corresponding bugle on the next arm. So we're one up from the bottom. So I've got my 3 15-0s, and I'm going through not this first one, but the second one up from the bottom on the next arm. Okay, you see? And I'm going to do that all the way around. So another 3 15s, and we're going to head to the second bugle. And 2 more times. And you see when you start to pull, it's going to start coming in like a little basket shape. And we're going to keep encouraging that so that we can use this to bezel our Rivoli. So next, we are going to head back up the third bugle. So I'm coming out of this one here. So we're 1, 2. I'm coming out of the second one on this last or first arm. And then I'm heading back up the third one. So coming out of the third one, I've strung up 5 15-0 seed beads, and we're going to repeat the same process we just did. We're going to head back through 1, 2, 3, the third bugle in each arm, and we're going to do 5 15-0 seed beads in between each arm. And as we pull, we're going to see that it's going to continue to create this basket shape in each round. Isn't that pretty? It's a nice like little decorative cross sort of look right now. It's a nice way to do something just a little bit different. I know we've done a lot of bezels using different kinds of arms, and I just thought that this bugle version is also a nice, slightly different look for a bezel. I personally am just a big fan of bugle beads. I really like the way they look. I just love the way they glow. Okay, so we are on that last section. Got our 5 in between each one. It's pretty. And the more you pull, the more you'll see that dimension is building into our design here. So we're gonna go and do another round. So let's head on back. I'm flipping over my beadwork so I can head back up that fourth bugle from where I'm coming out. And here is where we're going to incorporate some of these larger beads. So I'm just going to try to get them off the strand here. You don't need a lot of them because we're doing 1 in each corner. So you're going to take 2 of the 15-0s. You're going to add on one of these larger beads and then 2 more 15-0s. And then we're going to head through the fourth bugle on the next arm. And that's how that's going to look. So I'm going to continue around Same exact thing as before. Keep going and just add this additional larger bead with your seed beads, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, here we are. You can see it's starting to form nicely. See the dimension to it. Really cute basket form. So now we can pull a little bit tighter, and this is the time to add our Rivoli, the star of the show. So we're going to take this Rivoli and we're going to put it in this basket. Now remember, it needs to be a 14mm Rivoli to work here. And then you can press down and pull a little bit to make it more secure. And the next step, because we're not done yet, we are going to head back up that last arm, the last bugle in that arm that we're coming out of. And we're going to do 4 15-0 seed beads. And this is what's going to help close it. And we're going to head into that next bugle. Don't mind my tail here. Which is going to allow us to actually, we want to flip that up onto the front and pull. And this is what's going to hold our Rivoli in place. See that? Just got to do it all the way around. Another 4 15-0s heading into that next bugle. And again, gently flip it onto the front of the stone and give it a nice tug. You want to hold everything together until you're done, because you don't want that Rivoli slipping out while you're still working on it. It can take a little practice, so don't get frustrated. And again, next one. Those 4. Again, let's flip it forward. Encourage it to sit where you want it to sit. And we're on the last one. And we're going to go through that last bugle. And now you can really tug. Press on that stone in the middle and tug. And look at that. Now, if you need to center your stone a little bit more, this is a good time and place to do it. And then we're just going to secure it some more. And I'll also show you how you can add a little loop that will turn this into a pendant. Okay, so I've gone around and reinforced one more time. You can also do 2 more times if you feel it's necessary to really tighten up that front piece of your bezel. And now I am coming out of this bugle right here on the front, and we are going to go back through the second one. If I can get it in here. This is why we're using 4-pound fire line, because with the thicker one, it would be a lot more challenging to go through these so many multiples of time. So we have the strand coming out of here. We're going to go through those 2 15-0 seed beads. You are going through the first 2 15-0 seed beads, and then you're also going through that larger bead, our Chinese rondelle. We're going to come out of that rondelle at the top, and we are going to get another 7 15-0 seed beads to create a loop. And again, we have lots of examples for fun, different kinds of loops you can make. You can make a bigger loop depending on what kind of cord you're using, whatever you like. But for this one, we're doing just a plain 7 beaded loop, and we're going to head back through that Chinese crystal again to create that beaded loop. Okay, and we're going to go through this a couple more times. Again, this is the part that you want to reinforce the most because you want to make sure that whatever it's hanging from is going to be sturdy and it's not going to break. So this is the part where you want to reinforce multiple times. And then you can weave your thread out and you are done with your pendant. Now, it's your choice how you'd like to hang this pendant. You can use different kinds of chain. You can use cord. We have a bunch of different options for you. So that all of that is open and available. You can use even a beaded strand. But this pendant I think looks really pretty on just some dainty chain, and you can attach that with a simple jump ring. So that is it for this beautiful tutorial, the Ravishing Rivoli using bugles and a Krakovski crystal Rivoli to make this really pretty, dainty, small, kind of everyday wear jewelry that isn't too overwhelming. The nice thing about this project is if you want to double up the recipe, you can also make this a pair of really pretty earrings. It's the right size for earrings that aren't going to be too heavy, too big or too dangly, too glaring. So it's up to you. If you want to make a set, you can also do that. A pair of earrings and a pendant. So there's a lot of options here for you. This is a really fun and easy project and a really great way to get started doing some easy bezeling on a beautiful, super sparkly Rivoli. All right, everyone, thanks so much for joining me. What I've done here is just to give you an example of how this pendant will look if you pop a jump ring right on it and add it to your chain of choice. So you can make a really pretty dangle like this. And honestly, I think this would make a pretty dangle for a bracelet as well. Now that I'm looking at it, it's not too obtrusive, it's not too big. So we have tons of different chain options, and you can check out the rest of our channel for ideas on how to finish off a bracelet, how to add dangles to some chain, really, really basic and simple stuff. So definitely check that out. Leave me some comments below and let me know what you think and how you enjoyed it, and if you have any ideas for future projects that we could do. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one. Bye.